Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business Team. I am here this morning with the famous Dave Albin from Firewalk Adventures, who is actually a top credit expert in the US for all of us who don't have a clue about credit. He is like the magic bullet to help us get past our own ignorance and be able to master our credit. So welcome, Dave.
Good morning, Kim. Glad to be back.
And I want to just address this lovely princess look this morning and just say that our heater went out in the night. And so I now have little space heaters until they get here to fix it, but I just am freezing. So I just told Dave he was just going to have to put up with the snow bunny this morning.
I feel bad for your dog. Your dog's all wrapped up, and
She's got on her cute little sweater, though. It's
funny.
My other one does too, but he's in there by the heater. He's smarter than we are.
Well, and before we came on, I was teasing you about Texans and how great and tough they are, and all this, and it gets a little cold outside, and they.
I'm good with being that way because it got down to less than 20 last night, and we didn't know the heater was out until it was too late. We were freezing to death already. So anyway, getting on with our true topic this morning, I just wanted to address why I was looking so fine this morning in my little hat.
It works. Well, we're matched, or at least the color of our hats are matched. So we're good. We're not clashing color-wise.
No, pink goes with your yellow. That's right.
Yeah. No, I'm good at my own skin. I can wear pink, no problem. You betcha.
I want to kind of recap what we've been doing in case someone's just joining for the first time today, because this is a very powerful series that can help people this week change some things in their credit. We are here to help you create a sexy business for a sexy life. We mean that. And one of the things that we realized is that we have a lot of followers who are suffering, I will call it suffering, from not having good credit and not knowing what to do about it, because we think whatever it is, we have to just be stuck with that. And we don't. And that's what Dave is here this week, helping all of us know that even if our credit's good, it can be better. There are some things that don't take very much effort really to impact our credit score, which will impact our dollars, because we won't pay as much interest for things, or we won't pay as much for insurance. We won't pay as much for things that, we have to have. And if you're out looking, I'm a huge proponent of having a business, but if you're out looking for a job, we have a mutual friend that actually was hired for a job, had no idea there were some bad things on her credit that weren't hers. And she actually showed up to start, and they sent her home, said, "We're sorry, we can't hire you." So, you never know about those kind of incidents until they happen, unless you are like Dave. When we grow up, we're going to be like Dave and master our credit, find out what's on there and address it. Don't just stick our head in the sand. So this series is actually, a blessing to me, because you're doing it because we're BFFs. You're doing it for our followers and blessing all of us, because wow, what we don't know can hurt us.
Sure can. And that's, how I got to be where I am. I had a catastrophic thing happen to me back in 2008 and 9, when the mortgage bubble hit and my business crashed, and I lost our house, our farm, heart attack, divorce, had to leave the state, come to North Carolina, start all over. And, luckily for me, I was on the internet. I was on Facebook one day, and I saw the ad, and it said, mother of two takes her credit from a low 500 to the high 700. And though I went wait a minute here, hold on. As I said, my BS meter went off, right? But then I read enough and I bought the book and I came home and I mastered the book, and it completely turned my life around. I mean, from the standpoint of, because it's really, really, really difficult, I know, to operate without credit. Everything was cash. I needed a cosigner to pay cash. I jokingly say when I started this. So my credit was really, really, really bad. But again, I think it gets back to what we talked about earlier, Kim, and is that, so many of your viewers, it's not their fault. Number one, it's not their fault. And let me tell you what I also mean by that. If we go back just a few short months, Equifax had the largest breach of any personal information in any company's history. 176 million people's information got compromised. What does that mean? That means that if that happens to you, guess what? Is that your fault? No. Can it ruin your credit? Yes. Can that make you look bad?
That's more than half the people in the U.S.
That's right. That's exactly right. And here's what's interesting. These guys capitalized on it, because the next thing you know, that permeated fear throughout the country. Everybody was freaking out, and everybody now is willing to spend $20 a month to make sure that their information isn't breached and or is protected. And that's what I want to talk to our viewers about this morning. And that is, you can call all three bureaus, and I'll get the telephone numbers for you guys, and we'll put it in the link with this, and you can call them. But you can call all three bureaus and put a freeze on your account. And what that'll do is it'll stop it. That'll stop anybody from coming in and running your credit. That'll stop. And if they can't run your credit, they can't breach your credit, if that makes sense, right? They can't go out and get a credit card in your name. So
I didn't even realize that, though. Like when you were talking about that, when we were making plans for this,
right?
I never thought about the fact that if they can't run your credit, there's no way to, steal who you are. There's no way to do that stuff. I really did not think of it as that simple.
Right. And you'll find out there's other data mining companies as well. Most people only recognize, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. What they don't realize is that there's a lot of other companies out there. There's Innovis, there's LexisNexis, there's all these other data mining companies, and that's all they do. LexisNexis is actually owned by Equifax. They're in Atlanta. So all they do is go out and mine information, and then sell it to the credit bureaus. The interesting thing is, in one of the topics, I'm going to be talking to my big group, my big Facebook group tonight. We do a webinar about every other week, and we're going to be talking about one of the things we talked about here on the other day, and that is you don't ever call the bureaus to dispute anything. You don't fax the bureaus, you don't dispute online, and you certainly don't call them because you give up your legal and arbitration rights. Well, some people, buy the book, right, and then they read it, and then they're really enthusiastic, right? But they start thinking, oh, well, I want instant gratification. So maybe I won't send these letters. I'll just call them. And they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what's going to happen to them, that they're going to give up their legal and arbitration rights. And so I call it running east looking for a sunset. Okay? You can be as enthusiastic as you want. You can run as fast as you want. But at the end of the day, you're never going to see that sunset or that sunrise, right? Or sunset, I'm sorry. So you may see a sunrise, but you're not going to see the sunset. So anyway, I'm covering.
Can I kindergarten princess that real quick too?
Sure, of course.
So if we're going to want a quick fix, which we all do, but we look at it and we think, well, we're never going to have to do anything legal because, we're not. We just don't consider that something that's going to impact us. So we sign away that right. And the problem with that is they know that you signed away that right, so they don't address it. Like, it's not just about not ending up in court. It's about the fact that they know that once you do that online, it takes the teeth out of what you can do without ever going to court. I just want that, I just want to make sure that that's understood, because people may have the attitude, well, I'm not going to go to court over something like that. But when you sign away that right by doing it online, disputing something online, the credit bureaus know They don't have to fix it.
Nope, they don't.
That's
and
the importance.
it changes the whole dynamic of the interaction between them, because now in their data bank file, it says, you're an idiot, basically. Sorry. Because, and I shouldn't say idiot. You're just not knowledgeable, right? You're ignorant. Means you don't know that you didn't know. You didn't know that you were doing this. Or when you saw the disclosure, you didn't take an hour to sit down and read the whole thing, where it would have clearly told you you're giving up your legal and arbitration rights when you use this methodology of the system that they designed. There's nothing about these guys that's in your favor. Okay, this is the credit cartel, and if you look at them any other way, you're setting yourself up to get smacked. And well, I'll just call them, and I'm a nice person, and I have good mojo, and I've got great karma, and I'll call them, and they'll listen to me, and they'll trust me, and because I'm a really wonderful person, they'll take care of me. Listen to me very carefully here. This is like going to a rattlesnake and thinking you got good mojo, and you can talk the rattlesnake out of biting you.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I got news for you. Ain't gonna happen.
A snake does what a snake does.
A snake can do what a snake does, and he's gonna bite you every single time. Yeah. Same thing with the credit bureaus. Do not, under any circumstances, these guys are snakes, and they are definitely going to come after you, and they will bite you.
And here's the thing we want to make clear too: is we're not saying that anyone that works there is a bad person.
No.
We're just saying that that's the process. The process for the credit bureau systems is a biting process. It's a process to get you to not have any power to do anything about the things, because again, they make money from bad credit, which all of those things I did not know. I'm going to just say that again too. I'm 51 and I didn't have any idea that that was the case.
Yeah, well, they don't, and it's hidden, and they don't. The bottom line is that they're out there selling your information without, and originally they're selling it without your knowledge, permission, or consent. Did you ever get a letter in the mail from Equifax and says, "Oh, hey guys, we're going to be selling your information. We just thought we'd let you know." No, that doesn't happen. So the bottom line is that it's kind of like going to a baseball game. Are you at the game or are you in the game? Interesting dynamic. So I'm going to teach you here how to be in the game, and it doesn't take a lot of time. It's not hard. It's easy. We're gonna keep it really, really simple for you guys. And again, these tips are just going to be little things that you can do along the way. And like you said, to recap, we started off by having you go pull your Credit Karma, which you already did, Kim. You saw how easy that is. That gives you the information, and then that will start to get us off. Which we talked about the first day, and that is, how do you pay your credit cards? You leave a small balance on them. Most people pay them off, and that's because they were taught that way or whatever, but fundamentally, that's not the way to do it. That's not what the algorithm wants to see inside the credit reporting agencies. What it wants to see is that you have a small balance, or at least a balance, and you're making payments monthly. That's what you want to see going through the system, and that's what drives your score up. And then of course we talked about never ever. Now, I told you yesterday, you never call the bureaus to dispute any derogatory information. You don't fax, you don't do it online, you don't call them. Today, I'm going to tell you that you can actually call them. And by the way, let me just preface this by saying, don't ever call them unless I or somebody on my team or in our group or in the book tells you to do that specifically. Here, you can call them. Now, you can also do it online. So if you feel better doing it online, you can actually you can go on Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion's website, and they have a search option, right? And you can type in freeze, and then that'll bring up hopefully a link, and you can do it that way too. It's just as simple. But you're going to put a freeze on your reports. So you're going to.
Just to be clear, we never call them to dispute anything. We absolutely can call them to freeze it.
Yes, absolutely. Now, here's the trick. If you're getting somebody on the phone and they ask you anything, no. Do not let them take you down any other road than what you're there to do, and that is put a freeze on your account. Now, what they'll do is they can set this up for you so that you can have an app, and if there's an alert, it'll send it to your phone, and that means maybe somebody tried to pull your credit. There's something going on. So you can get notifications. If you want that more advanced feature, you can actually do that. And then you can also have a feature where, let's say, now understand, if once you put a freeze on your account, that means you can apply for credit, but you're going to be denied. And you're going to be denied because they can't get in to pull your credit. So if you go to Citibank and you go, oh my gosh, look at this really cool offer, and you forgot you put a freeze on it, right? And you go, oh, look at this, they're going to pay me 6% back and free airline tickets. And so you decide to apply for that card, you're going to get denied only because they can't access your credit file. So you'd have to go to your app or call them and say, hey, would you please remove the freeze? Where you thought is actually the word they use, right? You're freezing it. Now you're going to thaw it out. And so you can thaw it for 2 hours if you want to, or 1 day, or whatever you want. And then the freeze will go back. Now, you don't have to do this if you watch your credit closely. Like if you're monitoring it, I don't have to monitor mine every day anymore. I've got it set up. I deal with two of the providers of credit information. I deal directly with Experian. They have a really good, I love how the readouts, and it's real easy to understand. And then I also use my FICO. And again, we talked a little bit about it, but the two different scoring models, one is FICO and one is Vantage. And you want to stay away from Vantage. You want to focus on FICO. My FICO is really good because they have the different scores that are for different industries. Like they have a FICO 5, a FICO 7, a FICO 3. And those are just what different industries look at, what a credit card company looks at, what a mortgage company looks at, what an automobile loan company looks at. So they're just different scores is all that is. You don't have to know any of that. You don't have to remember any of it. But if you do get if you get an account with MyFICO and you go on there, you'll see what the different scores, and they actually explain to you, what those different scores are in the industry that score is going out to, if that makes any sense. So yeah, here it's just
it was different.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty big mystery too. Our resident expert, John Olsheimer, we put this out to him, and it's just the different models. I don't know. I think it's just to keep you off your game and to keep you guessing and keep you, wondering. Why would it matter? What difference does it make? I guess it does, from the standpoint if you're doing a credit card, that's an unsecured, right? But if you're doing an automobile, then the car title is the leverage is the collateral, if you will, for that loan. So their model, I can understand, might be a little bit different because they can go repo the car, right? So they but you can't really if you go buy a microwave oven from Walmart and it's in your house, they really can't come get it, though they'll try.
Well, and I think something else too that, like, for me, that is a mystery, I guess, is, to me, it's simple math. If you make enough money, you can afford the payments, and you've shown that you're trustworthy, that should be the answer to the, whether you get something or not. But it's so not that.
Right. It's so not that. Again, once you get into the game and you're actually in the game and not at the game, as we discussed a minute ago, you start to think differently, right? You get to a point where good credit becomes your identity. Mastering your credit becomes who you are. It's almost like a game. I can see some of your girls now going, "Ooh, this is going to be good. I'm going to master this. I'm going to get these guys," and that's really good. We don't
play. We want to master it, whatever we're doing.
Right, exactly. So it becomes a game. It becomes fun. It becomes challenging. It's like I'm really going to get this figured out, and you've only got to put in about that much time. There's really not a lot. Again, with the basic, things that I'm sharing here over the 5 days here, there's a lot right there. But if you really want to get into it, then you invest a couple of bucks, $49, whatever the book is, and you can buy the book if you want that. But that's an option. That's for somebody that really wants to get into this. And then there's another level and another level and another level if you really, really, really want to get into this work, from the standpoint that you could go out to your local community center and you could stand on stage and you could teach this. Because if you're with me for 2 months and we're doing this and you're the book and you're on our Facebook page and doing that, trust me, in 2 months, I can have you tuned up. You're going to be smarter than 98% of the American population in this country with their credit in just a few short weeks. So the learning curve is really, it's quick, it's fast. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be good in school. You could have been a high school kick out. You don't have to be a college grad, none of that. It's just, it's really quite that simple. And so that's the beauty of all that it's
well,
not.
One of the things that like even intrigued me is the fact that I can save thousands of dollars a year on my insurance, just my insurance, by knowing like these things you're teaching, which doesn't, in my mind, again, does not compute that they're connected, but they are connected.
You know, like Larry King said, you know, there's three certains: death, taxes, and credit. And so, you know, again, you're either going to learn it or you're not. And so there's a huge downside to not. All kinds of things can go wrong. And again, without really you knowing that could even happen. You know, what would happen if somebody gets into your trash can and you didn't know, man? You just put your stuff and you didn't think about it. Next thing you know, somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning is looking through your trash, and there it is. On document that has all your information, or maybe you do scan a credit card or whatever. So, you know, you when you do this right and you play this game right, again, your whole mindset about your identity and who you are and how to operate with all this can radically change. Again, go look at what a 2 or 3 or 4% drop in your mortgage would do and amortize that over 30 years. You guys, it's insane. Why would you want to give your family's hard-earned money and you know, again, your family's estate to these bankers? I mean, they're taking it from you. And again, all because what? You didn't know? Well, now you can know, and now you will know. And I'm going to, and Kim and the rest of the group here will help you do that. Because here's the thing. Yeah, you could stand, you know, in a couple of months. Yeah. Can I get you ready to stand on stage in front of in a civic auditorium and teach it? You better believe I can. But the really thing to teach it to is your family. Because here's the thing, you know, if you've got kids, you want to teach this to them. You know, my son's in here, he's 25 years old. He's got a 780 credit score, and he knows it and he understands it. And that's something, yeah, he's going to college. He's going to computer engineering school. But you know what he does every day, about every other day? He's looking at his credit score online. Hey, Dad, my score went up another 2 points. You know, so he's conscious of it. And that's really important at a young age, because now he realizes he's been empowered, right? He's with Navy Federal Credit Union. He already knows that's not a Wall Street entity. He knows what happened. He was there when the banks kicked our butt back in 2008 and 9. He saw his dad fight with the banks and go through foreclosure and heart attack and all that. He saw the struggle. He knows what that's about. So he gets that, right? He's with Pentagon Federal Credit Union. He's with USAA. Now, granted, because of me having a military background, I got him into Navy Federal. But you can get into Pentagon Federal Credit Union and you don't have to have any military affiliation. And you know what, guys? There's tons of credit unions out there.
Yeah.
They're all throughout your city. There's there's government, city, state employees, and you know, they can get you in. And again, they're not Wall Street driven. They're not driven by profit. They're almost like a co-op, right? So they put money back into it, and they really do help the community, and they will really work with you, and you can go in and sit down and talk with them. And in my humble opinion, get a couple million people to join credit unions and watch what the banks do. They might change their attitude.
Well, get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so, okay, what is the tip then for today? Because I know you touched on it, but I want to make sure that they understand that, like, the actionable thing that they need to do today.
The actionable thing that they can do today is they can either go online, or I'll get the telephone numbers. We'll put it in the link, and you can call the credit bureaus. That's specifically TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And you can call them, and if you so want to, you can put a freeze on your account. And what that does, it's going to put a layer of protection around you, so that if somebody goes to steal your identity, which again can be an absolute nightmare, we're stopping them at the gates, and they can't run your credit. And if they can't run your credit, they can't get any credit on your account.
And see, I think this is one of those like moments of taking responsibility.
Yes, definitely.
And being the CEO of you, because that's the, we want to leave it up to someone else because one, we're kind of lazy, but a really big one is we just don't understand it. So we think that it'll just take care of itself if we just ignore it and stick our head in the sand like an ostrich. That whole cartoon picture of not paying attention to it. But the problem with that is this storm that's going on with credit is still going to happen. We can either come out mastering it and take responsibility and do amazing things, or we can ignore it. And there's going to be a lot that does happen. We're going to pay a lot more money for things we don't need to. It's going to surprise us at some point what happens. All of those things are possibilities. And I think if as a people, as a nation, we would take responsibility as a CEO would for our own selves, we could change probably the entire industry, because if everyone mastered this, they couldn't take advantage of everyone.
No. In fact, I was looking online yesterday. I wanted to come back. And so, I have one of these. This is Discover, and it's got a fairly substantial limit. And so, but the point of this card is this card can benefit you greatly, because I talked about it in one of the earlier sessions. And what I do is I pay everything in my home with that card. But what I did yesterday, Kim, is I checked my account, and I've earned back $657 already in this year on the percentage back from using that card. So think about that, $650. I mean, that's crazy. That's pretty substantial amount. I'm like, see, to me,
and that's one card.
That's just one card. I mean, I could go get all my I can't carry all my credit cards. I don't carry them with me. I carry a Discover card. I carry my American Express card. I better be careful because of my number on there. You can get the number. But this is my business, for my business. So anything I do business-wise, if I go to Home Depot and I buy something or whatever for one of my events, it goes right on the card. It's all accounted for, and away you go. This thing's got a substantial limit on it as well. So, yeah. So again, so for me, the $650, it was more about winning than the amount. If that makes any sense, it's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
For a few minutes a week, because after you get everything like lined out, you're not talking about much time to maintain it. For a few minutes a week, just on one of the cards, you're getting back $600+ a year. That's definitely worth our time. Like, it's definitely worth our time. That does not count your insurance being hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars less. That doesn't count. No surprises. I like that part. No.
Well, and again, here's the other side of it, right? That business, that American Express business card, right? That's why I say when I bought that book and I finally sit down with it and I go, wait a minute, what is this book really worth to me? What has it done? I mean, number one, when you go from not having any credit and you can't do anything to being able to get that bad boy.
Yeah.
I mean, with a substantial, with $100,000 line of credit with it. I mean, that's pretty huge, right? So that changes things in your mind. It opens you up. It's like these roadblocks that maybe were in your way are gone. You knock them down. That book and the content got me from here to here, and it's poised me just in my firewalking business for 2019. And I know you probably know this. I'm poised to do $500,000 right there. And that would have never happened, because if you don't fix this part, you can drive on flat tires. You can, but you're not going to go very fast, and you're going to make a lot of noise along the way, and you're going to ruin the car along the way. So, this just opens you up in so many different ways to be able to start your own business, to take the pressure off your family. I mean, it's such, the upside here, you guys, is massive. And there's little to no downside. None.
Well, and we have lots of businesses, like a lot of people following us that own businesses already, or several businesses. And, we're not going to get into it in this series, but I do want to point out that this book and you and this group are also impacting business credit.
Yep.
Like, I think it's a whole different critter, but I do just want to acknowledge that you really want to take care of your personal credit. You really want to take care of, the responsibility of being the CEO of you. And you really want to take responsibility for being, business credit wise on top of things, because there's no reason not to. Like, this is one of those things that people just don't, they want to do the fun stuff. Like, we like to go take our credit card and go shop, but to stop and find out that, they've got something else attached to our credit that has nothing to do with us, which is one of the things I found out, that I didn't know it. I had no idea that it was on there. I had no idea anything. And I'm just like flitting along, not being responsible. I will like make a princess confession. And I look at that and I think how simple it is, just in this short little bit of time. You're already impacting my life because you're helping me fix things that I didn't even know were broken.
Right. Yeah.
So there's really no excuse. I guess that's my point, is even if you're not the, the big graduate of Harvard, or, you're not that, there's no excuse for all that, because like you said, you didn't know any of this. And when you read that book, this is the impact it's had. And now Larry King even dubs you, one of the top experts. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess it is from that standpoint. I can see how you would, certainly look at that from my standpoint. I don't know. It just happened, right? It's not like I decided one day that I wanted to go down this road and that was all going to happen. I had that moment of clarity. And I said, look, this is important. You must master this. You've got to get this figured out. You've got to get it fixed. And my why was huge. That's why I, said in the beginning, you write down your why. Why do you want to do this? What's going to be the long-term effect, the short-term effect on your family? How's that going to change the dynamic of your family? How is it going to empower you? How is it going to set you free? How are you going to feel after you've got this mastered and you don't have to take it from these guys anymore? And then you can go show your neighbors and your friends and your family and teach it to your community and to your kids and to your church.
Will you for tomorrow, because we're going to be on tomorrow at 8:00 Central Standard Time again in the morning. Will you for tomorrow do some numbers and tell us tomorrow the difference in a 30-year mortgage at, like you were saying the other day, at 3% versus 12%, or whatever percent you want to do, but will you just demonstrate out loud the number difference, because it's a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'll even try to correlate it so that if you, let's say, my credit score is a 675, which is not bad. Oh yeah, but if it's a 770, look at the difference here, and that's how much money. Yeah, so I'll run those numbers and have that tomorrow for our viewing audience.
That would be awesome, because I feel like the more we can really make, very definitive points about these things, the more people will understand the importance of it. Yep. So I think that doing that tomorrow, and you're going to have another tip for us tomorrow also. So The recap is call the credit bureaus, all three of them, and have them freeze your credit so that no one can, commit fraud against you by pulling credit that's not theirs to pull. And we will see you in the morning at 8:00 Central Standard Time. Dave Albin, thank you for caring enough to come and bless all of us.
My pleasure. Love it. Right.
If you're following us, if you're watching, be sure and join us. This will be a 5-part series, which is amazing that Dave has taken the time to do this. We need to take the responsibility for our own selves and the responsibility of being the CEO of ourselves. We are here to help you create a sexy business for a sexy life, and credit is definitely part of the thing that can either make it sexy or not. So join us tomorrow. This is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team.
Have a great day, everyone.